Shalom, call Allah Yahweh Shem Shah. Shalom to the left. Now, I made this video quick. This is just a quick video. I happened to see this online earlier too as well. It says a military officer who was reportedly incensed by his wife being forced to receive her you-know-what from a male disrupted the inauguration of Iran's newest provincial governor by walking on stage and slapping the dignitary. And this ain't the only time this happened. This been happening a lot to them little leaders too. Let's play real quick. This part of this coming to fruition. What's this? This book is Second Ezra. It says, for there should be sedition among men, which is going on right now, and invading one another. It's definitely going on right now. A lot of home invasions, a lot of different robberies, people cars getting broken into, even the damn trucks to be driving around, the goods getting jacked and broken into. It says they should not regard their kings nor princes. Let me go into the actual thing right here so I can read some more. I'm going to go back to verse 15. Second Ezra, chapter 15, verse 15 said, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. You see that going on right now. That all type of stuff. Got them joining together. One is holding joint drills. Got people fighting and rioting in the streets still. A lot of stuff, they ain't even putting a lot of stuff in the media, but you have people with underground media and different little apps and people that record videos that go out and actually share this stuff. It says, and swords in their hands, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And just recently, you had a lot of officers in New York talking about they don't want to, stay up there no more, and they're not going to work if they got to take that you-know-what. And now you got the governor of Florida saying, hey, come down here, we'll give you a $5,000 signing bonus just to come down here. So, hey, it's a lot of shit going on. And a lot of people still going to quit anyway because they still going to try to force it on people. They still going to try to force them to get that you-know-what. Like, this nigga going to ask me today, tomorrow, did I take it? Just to see that I was going to say that, bro. You know what type of man I am. You know what I stand for. Why the fuck is you going to ask me? No, I ain't take that you-know-what. And he going to turn around and say, oh, well, I took it. You see, that's because niggas be weak. They ain't got no fucking backbone. And they don't do no research. They just listen to Esau tell good old Massa. Massa said, go do this. I'm going to go ahead and do it. He said, I'll be all better if I go ahead and do it. That's the mentality niggas got. Meanwhile, Massa trying to wipe your ass out. Now it says, a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Hey, this going on right here too. Certain places you can't even go if you ain't got that you-know-what. Now it says, because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. A lot of cities troubled right now. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. There's a lot of niggas be doing that, thinking they tough, and doing that tough shit really be some bitch-ass niggas. They don't really be having the spirit of the Most High on them. They got the spirit of Instagram and Facebook on them and shit. They not really thinking about what's really going on for real. So when they realize how stuff really is, and shit hit the fan, they gonna bug out like that previous video I made. When it says men should travail like a woman with a child. That's how they gonna be. How women be crying like, oh, my stomach hurt, my water about to break. That's how a lot of these niggas gonna be. Verse 19 it says, a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword. We're talking about weapons. It could be anything, sword, gun, whatever. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And you see it in the stores. We go back to this other video real quick. And I'll come back to this. That lack of bread.
Over the past several weeks, the number of people on social media complaining about things like empty shelves in supermarkets, restaurants running out of certain food items.
And what that's going to make people do? A man should have no pity upon his neighbor. That's how niggas going to be, man. Which ain't smart, because you don't know what the fuck your neighbor got laying next to him. But that's how it's going to be, though.
or the price of goods just plain increasing has exploded. But in response to these problems, actually the Biden administration just doesn't seem too concerned. When asked about supply chain issues, this is what Jen Psaki had to say.
It was crystal clear that things were not improving on supply chain. People couldn't get dishwashers and furniture and treadmills delivered on time, not to mention all sorts of other things. So why is
the tragedy of the treadmill that's delayed?
Right, the treadmill problem.
And similarly, Liz Reynolds, a special assistant to the president, has been quoted as saying, "You won't be able to get the jacket in 15 colors, but you will be able to get the jacket." And when asked about the supply chain breakdown, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg seemed to imply that the problem was actually that Americans were simply trying to buy too much and cleaning out stores that way. But seeing as how inflation levels...
Let's see, look at this. I'm glad this image popped up. I'm going to go back to the other video in a minute. Give me 1 minute. Go to this. I'm glad that popped up. So this is another key indicator, right? The scripture say, "No man knoweth the time or the hour," or whatever. I may be butchering it a little bit. So I can. But it says, "No man knoweth the day, nor the hour, or the time," whatever. All right, matter of fact, I'm gonna go to it. I don't even want to butcher it. This book of Matthew, chapter 24. Let me see what it says. Book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 36. It says, "But of that day and hour no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but the Father only." So nobody know the exact time of the day or hour when shit really gonna hit the fan. But what the scripture say, measure the time. Go to it. Let me see what this is. Give me 1 minute. No, I ain't gonna pull this one just yet. I'm gonna go back to it because that's something that line up with what I'm talking about too as well. So give me 1 minute. Pull this. Should be in this book if I'm not mistaken. It's a book of Second Ezra as well. Second Ezra. Chapter 9. In verse 1 it says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." So we don't know the exact time, but the signs is evident. Look at all these signs, man. and go on non-stop talking about all this stuff. It says, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which you made. Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes. I ain't even got to pull it up, you know, if you listening. Earthquakes been going on back to back. Uproars of the people. You see the people, they protesting, rioting, burning up shit, all type of stuff going on. People boycotting the you-know-what. That's uproars of the people in the world. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So anybody talking about somebody infiltrated this book or the white man wrote this book or whatever, don't even talk to their ass like that for real, because they bugged out. It's clear as day what's really going on. They ain't that crafty to come up with this type of stuff. If they was that crafty, they'll fix the world up how it's supposed to be fixed up and find a way to go to another planet and do the same shit, but they're not that crafty like that. They crafty to do wickedness. So by them being crafty doing wickedness, they're going to get took out by their own devices, as it is written. Now let me see. Now I'm going to go back to the book. What verse I want to go to. Book of Revelation, chapter 18, and verse 17. It says, and this has been coming out a lot lately, so hey, this coming soon, man. Like I be talking about the movies coming soon, this is entering into this movie coming soon. It says, for 1 hour, so great riches is coming nigh, and every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. And it's mighty ironic, all these ships still out in that damn water right now.
Are at worrying highs in the United States, and there are reports of transportation cargoes waiting off the coast of...
Man, come on, man. You cannot make this shit up. Esau ain't write this book, man. Ain't no white man write this book. This book completely condemned them when you actually go into the full spectrum of it. Let me read on some more. In the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and verse... Let's see. In verse 18, it says, and cried when they saw the smoke. And let me backtrack a little bit. The reason why they're going to see this smoke, because right now in the news, you got NATO talking about how they're going to take out Russia's nuclear plan. You got Russia doing deals with Iran with a nuclear plan. The U.S. selling shit to Taiwan. But the little do they know, don't never trust Moab, because Moab will turn on your ass. That's in the history books. They good for that. They haven't forget how they got invaded and how they put all them people on the opioids, the real opium pandemic that went on over there. They ain't forget about none of that. All these other different nations they don't sell weapons to, they gonna actually turn on them, and the Most High gonna push them spiritually to turn on them. But it says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what is this city? Or what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, the great city wherein we're made rich, all that had ships in the sea. And go back to this video, let me see.
California to unload their goods. It really doesn't seem like people are just doing too much shopping.
Yeah, right. People shopping, these stores still open, but the goods ain't in them.
I've noticed that there's fewer items on the
And inflation going on.
store shelves.
See some empty shelves, and I guess not everybody are able to afford for stuff right now, and things are going up, so it's a bit crazy.
A lot of people are getting laid off, and I do believe people will start hoarding certain items, just like how at the beginning of the pandemic people did with
Better go get that toilet paper.
toilet paper and so on and so forth.
And he said it, man. I didn't even watch this video. He said it right after.
Store prices are all on the rise. It's gonna happen until they can get all those cargo ships unloaded.
Man, you can't make this book up, man. That's why, as I mentioned numerous times, you want to be in the good sight of Most High. Because when this judgment comes, he send them angels to gather certain people. Somebody ain't getting on them ships. Some people is, though. It is what it is. Let me go down some more. It's just seeing it brings joy, because if you ain't in that spirit, that manly spirit, knowing that, damn, our enemy's really ruling over us because we fucked up and the Most High put them over us and put us in these conditions until we decide to get our mind right and turn back to him. You should have that mind frame, that mentality, and want to be able to rule. Once you want to rule your household the right way. Make sure your kids safe. You ain't gotta worry about predators and Pizzagate shit going on. All this other stuff projected in the media and all that. Don't you want to have some balance? Have proper wages. And our people gonna be made rich. So wages is just gonna be, they hearing that word is gonna be a joke because we gonna be controlling stuff. You don't have to worry about no reparations. Us coming in, our land and our actual power, how we supposed to be, that's the real reparations. Now verse 20 said, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh have avenged you on her. Esau ain't pay for all that blood they shed when you hear the stories about the Seminoles and all the other Indians. You hear the story about the transatlantic slave trade. You hear the story about Haiti, Jamaica, the Maroons, all that different stuff. They ain't really pay for that. Not yet. But they gonna pay for it though. With the own shit that they created. Ain't that something, man? The Most High got a sense of humor. Now it says, in verse 21, and the mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of the harpers and the musicians, of the pipers and the trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman and of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. All these nations got deceived. That's why they got democracies and republics. It says, and in her was found the blood of the prophets and the saints. When I was watching the actual video recently, they was talking about a guy, he was one of the chief Indians or whatever, speaking about prophetic events back then. And it was actually a town up here in Ohio. It was called, what it was, let me search it real quick. I want to say it was a prophet town or something like that. Let me go to it, since I'm thinking about it.